We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Happy end of summer. Welcome to Rectember. We will talk about how many people know about Rectember, and then I will ask, will Rectember happen? Or was Rectember in August? We will see. All right, Alexandra, first on the stream. Welcome. Today's Tech Bites. David, welcome to the show. Zepedes, Felix, Leo, CB, welcome to the show. Jelster, VA Buds, the OG, Lee, Mahet, welcome. All right, let's get right into it. Now, the most underreported story that you won't hear about anywhere else comes from a local Austin, Texas group of geniuses called Geopolitical Futures, run by a guy named George Friedman. Now, I'm going to condense a lot of stuff down by reading this little excerpt. There was a meeting between, the U.S. and the Chinese, right? Small things can reveal much larger geopolitical truths. Such is the case as the recent meeting between the U.S. and China Financial Working Group. This group, which consists of representatives from each country's central bank and government agencies, convened in China last week to coordinate things in their respective banking systems. These meetings happen fairly regularly, so the important thing here is to understand what is being coordinated. Now, this goes on to kind of a geopolitical analysis. It's a free article. He's not going into details, but allow me to fill in. Here are the details. The Financial Times and Bloomberg have both reported that the Chinese have got to make a major move either right before or right after the Fed cuts rates to move trillions of dollars out of U.S. dollar deposits, treasury bills, treasury bonds, stocks, whatever, and move that money back into China for various reasons, the least of which is supporting their currency, which is crashing along with their economy. So this meeting is most likely about how, without any geopolitical tensions, because central bankers don't necessarily hate each other, how they get trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars out of the dollar and into the yuan. Now, to me, this eventually has profound implications for the dollar in terms of, the dollar just sliding lower in a very organic way. The dollar went down a lot. Bitcoin went with it, which was a huge mystery, right? And we'll talk more about what I would call the suppression of Bitcoin. But this meeting is a prelude to a much larger move where people just have to move out of the dollar and back into their native currencies. All right. Now, Powell has to cut rates with stocks at their highs, home prices at their highs, and rents and food at their all-time highs. Okay, so let's talk about the nature of the U.S. economy. Okay, there's two economies. There's people with money, houses, and stocks. There was no recession, right? There will be no recession. The only way to get a recession is to have stocks go down 40%. And housing prices go down 40% like 2008. Right this second, that doesn't seem likely. The recession, we're not going into one. The economy, the rest of the economy, right? People that, outside the capital class have just gotten destroyed, right? The cost of everything is up. Their job is in question. Their income is flat or even down. And if they don't cut rates, that whole swath of the economy is just going to get wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. So Powell has to do something. And in an election year, he can't get blamed, right? I mean, this thing is heating up. We're going to go through some news articles, But the quickest and easiest thing that Powell can do is cut rates, talk about the fact that labor market conditions stink. Like the job market, they've created no jobs, none. In other words, this whole thing, last week about, oh my God, 1 million jobs revised and, the statistics were fake. Okay. Yeah. But what people don't realize is the economy created no jobs. No jobs. Job growth was zero over the last year. So again, we're not going into a recession. We've been in one, which can allow them to cut rates on the regular. Really. I mean, maybe if Trump wins, they have to take a break, but I think they can do at least 3 25 basis point cuts. Or, you're going to have angry people at the voting booth. And I know that Harris and the current administration don't want that. Okay. Now let's talk about the circus that is the United States, because I do believe this is eventually going to wind up being bullish Bitcoin when whoever is selling it will go into that, is done selling it, or the word I would use on my YouTube channel is suppressing it. Okay. Federal law for anyone outside the United States, this is, even people inside the United States may not be aware of this, but federal is actually in hotels. Oh, can everyone hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Malik is here. What's up? If you can hear me, wave a comment. Okay. So the Army is in hotels in New York. Like they have taken over whole hotels in New York in front of this Donald Trump sentencing on September 18th. So if you're not following it, Donald Trump was convicted of something called a felony, which is a fairly serious offense. Not a fairly serious, it is a serious offense. He was convicted of 34 of them, and he might be sent to jail. Like, I know people think that that's unthinkable, but this is up to one individual as to whether or not that happens. That would be the judge. So he could go to jail on September 18th, and New York City police are all calling in sick that day. So New York City police will not be working on September 18th, which is why they have the Army in hotels in case there are riots or in case somebody has to take Trump to jail. So can you imagine the optics of the United States Army taking a former president and candidate to jail? I mean, that's something that would happen in like a third world country, and it's serious. They're prepping for that to happen here. How in the name of God is that dollar bullish? How does anybody not look at this and go, oh my God, we got to get out of this thing? This is why I think starting at the end of September, right? They got to cut rates, and then this election circus could literally turn into a circus. Like, again, on Trump, as an aside, you've noticed the guys had to issue, sneakers are out now at $150 a pop. The book is out. The NFTs are out, because when you go to jail, a lot of times they prevent you from profiting from any type of publicity on your crime, right? They're getting everything out before he potentially has to go to jail. Okay. Commercial real estate, right? Banks. Don't doubt that the reason the Fed has to cut rates is that there's a problem. Matter of fact, a lot of people in legacy, this was true in 2008, that if something really is wrong, and everyone sells the Fed rate cut, say in stocks, that it's a signal that there's something wrong out there somewhere. Right now, I think in crypto, because crypto has been suppressed, crypto is going to go up on the rate cuts, not down. And if crypto did go down, it would be a screaming temporary buy, just like this blow off bottom over the predictable holiday Memorial weekend, right? They did the holiday puke and the holiday reversal. Okay. In addition, in the United States, there is an interview out with a huge podcaster where basically a guy is saying that, I don't think Donald Trump will be allowed to become president. This is out there. Okay. Again, this is a circus, which really, really has a lot more to do with the dollar. right? In other words, if you look at this objectively, if this country cannot govern itself and is not following its constitution, the currency should go down. Okay. And then you have this, supposedly, not supposedly, but, armed people from, who are recent to the country are taking over like apartment complexes. So how convenient, right? The current presidential candidate doesn't do well. And then all of a sudden, people who just got here to the country have got $2,000 rifles and are running around taking over apartment complexes. Like, who armed these guys? Who trained these guys? Why is law enforcement not doing anything about it? Again, you know what I'm saying? This is happening. This is absolutely happening. And it's not dollar bullish. It just isn't, right? That's what it has to do with us, which is why Van Eck, here come the hyperbole price targets. Bitcoin is going to $2 million by 2050. Sure it is, because governments are going to have to buy it as a reserve asset. Right now, what you have is the U.S. government trying to hold down crypto out of spite because Trump likes it, or they're trying to hold it down so BlackRock can buy as much as possible. Because if you look at the statistics, we talked about it last week, all the other ETF providers have had to sell Bitcoin for redemptions, and BlackRock is buying it all. They're just taking it all. So, I mean, is it so ridiculous to assume that the U.S. government is suppressing Bitcoin or selling Bitcoin so that BlackRock can either take their Bitcoin and your Bitcoin and just, push the market down? I got a chart of NEAR. I think NEAR was down like 9 days in a row. Like, how does that happen? Right? That's suppression. It's got nothing to do with, I'm so bearish altcoins. I mean, YouTube, Twitter, oh my God, everybody got so bearish. And of course, it was so depressing. Just watch this market bleed out like this. It's suppression. It eventually ends. And it could end in spectacular fashion when people realize what's going on with the political front and with the dollar. Okay, there appears to be a pattern here. The New York Times, the Constitution is sacred, but is it dangerous? The Constitution is broken and should not be reclaimed. The New York Times, let's give up on the Constitution. Wow. Constitution is what makes the United States a free country. So I really don't know why the news media is all of a sudden in love with this. I can only imagine, right? I mean, is that currency bullish? Is it? I mean, okay. Recessions are created by government policies. So, Germany has trouble getting energy because of whatever happened in the Ukraine. And now Volkswagen is talking about closing a giant factory in Germany. Again, government policy error. It's breathtaking. The U.S. government, way back in the day, used to fund itself from taxes from liquor, beer, and tobacco, according to the IRS. And this individual is saying, shrink the government. This is also a reminder that in the event there is a change in the administration, they're going to have to cut government spending massively, and you're going to be in a recession immediately, as defined by a lack of economic growth. I mean, you see these statistics about the debt. The debt is up, $1 trillion every 3 months. It's because they're spending massive amounts of money, right? And that has to come to a stop. I mean, everyone thinks that Trump is just going to be there to pump everyone's bags. These guys are going to look at the numbers, particularly if Kennedy's with them, and they're going to go, "Yeah, man, we gotta do something about this." So strap in. $440,000 Bitcoin is next. Okay, brace for a dollar crisis to spark total collapse. So I think everybody knows that September is a bearish month. 72% of the time, the market's down. We discussed this last week, and that may have all been priced in during August, right? Right. Coin market, CoinDesk, 58K, the start of historically bearish September. Bitcoin faces historically bearish September. Are you seeing a pattern here? Okay, CNBC, as Bitcoin enters the most historic worst bearish month of September. Okay. So just a reminder as to what happened last year. So there was a puke on Labor Day last year. That's the holiday at the start of September. There was another puke around 9/11. Okay. The anniversary of the big terror attack 20 years ago. And then that was it. Then the market just sort of went higher, sat in a range, and then took off. Okay. And I don't think this is any different. This isn't any different. I don't even know if they've got it in them to do one more dip. I think the market's going to be in a range. And then all of these events with the Fed and all these events with our country are going to unfold. And people are going to look at this and go, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Especially since they hit gold and silver at the same time. I mean, I don't think they've just been suppressing Bitcoin. I think last week they resorted to suppressing precious metals because there's no reason for it to be down. The Bitcoin hash rate is at all-time highs. And they're selling Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to 40K. All right. Larry Fink, all in on Bitcoin. This was, a CNBC show. Altcoin Daily is running it as a reminder that, if you get bearish this stuff, Larry is down there he's literally just taking it all. Even if the price action is horrible, which it was, and it was depressing, and I got depressed, everybody got depressed. You couldn't even look at it anymore, which is the definition of a bottom. Okay, is Bitcoin going to 64K? So, Yahoo decided to write a positive article, okay, which is funny. And then this is my Twitter where, I got to get to it. It has the graph of September, right? So this is last year, right? You had a rally in late August like we did. Then you had this total despair move on the holiday. It sat, it fell out of bed one more time, and then that was it. That was it. Luxalgo bought it first week of October, and then it was just like, go up, retrace 62%, and just went up from there. It's the exact same thing. Okay. Now, just to do some live TA, I've got this in the slide deck, but this is near. This is a layer 1 protocol straight down, right? Went to 5 and then it went to 3 something. Straight down. Every single rally was sold. Every single rally. Look at these wicks. Every rally sold. Rally sold. Tries to buy the dip, sold. Rally sold. Right? Does that look organic to you? Looks like people are giving up, is what it looks like. Right? Which is what you're trying to do if, I don't know, the market is somehow being forced lower or suppressed or someone's shorting it or whatever. People just completely gave up on everything last week. I don't think that's warranted. I don't think it makes any sense. And I think at some point that when the suppression ends, now that could be now, that could be November, that could be January, or all 3, right? They could just get started. It's like, oh, wow, we're going to act like a third world country. Okay, let's buy Bitcoin off a rate cut. You know what I'm saying? Good luck suppressing this thing. Good luck holding it down. Right? When everybody starts coming in all at the same time, particularly after they've just washed everyone out, they just forced everybody out of this. Okay. Well, let's see who else is here. So we got people pouring in here. We got Shelly, Malik, Felix, Cepedas. Welcome. Encrypt, Nicholas, Miguel. If Rectember happens, what am I looking to purchase? Okay, that's a good question. So let's go to PowerPoint and discuss that. Okay. I think the simple answer is Bitcoin, DeFi, and AI. If I had to narrow it down to coins, it would be Bitcoin, Aave, and the AI super token Fetch, right? That's the first group of coins out of the gate, right? And then, of course, there's all your layer 1s. I think, the one I'm trying to even though they're making it difficult, is Avalanche. For the layer 1s, I would personally go Avalanche and Solana. Now, the sleeper in DeFi is True Finance, right? True Finance, I think, is just going to go. All right. So let's go to PowerPoint here. Okay. So I've done the research. This comes from my historical data system. BTC plus 25 just shows you what Bitcoin did from the end of August out 25 days, right? So basically most of September. And as you can see, these returns, like, the stock market's up 10% during the month. With this, Bitcoin is down, 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 down 75% of the time. The average of all the moves, including the up moves, is 7%. So it is an ugly month, and everyone knows it. Everyone knew it last month. Okay, again, here is near down only. So are we doing this again? Are we taking it to 2? I don't know. I don't know. It looks like people completely gave up last week. Look at this in Solana. Do you realize Solana was down 20% last week? 20%. Okay. 13 bottom, support at 125. They've given you a shot at Solana at 125 multiple times. This looks like a bottom. Looks like Solana wants to go back to 140. Now, ETH may be another story, right? I'm starting to wonder if ETH is going to start acting like Cardano. I keep waiting for ETH to explode. That's probably going to happen at some point where ETH will rally with the rest of the market. But I don't know if boomer heads like me can expect ETH to act like it did last cycle. Whoops. Now, there's a 13 bottom in ETH. There's every reason for ETH to go back up. Don't get me wrong. But the fast money may not be in this coin anymore. This may act more like Bitcoin. Right. And then like the fast movers, you're going to have to get into other layer ones. Okay. Bitcoin, big support at 57. Don't see a reason to be bearish down here. The range is probably 57 to 67, according to DeMark. Okay. On a 90-minute chart of Bitcoin, you have money flowing back in on Lux Algo. That's good, right? The equilibrium balance level is around 60. So that kind of makes sense that Bitcoin would just unwind whatever this, pre-Labor Day suppression was. And then it just goes back to 60. That's all. And of course, you can see the extent to which people were giving up on Bitcoin in August, this red on red thing. And people just gave up, right? And then this like awful downward sloping grind. I mean, when that ends, it just did what it did yesterday, which is just pop straight back up again. Okay. Solana. So equilibrium in Solana is like 145. Solana goes to 160. It comes back to 140. Solana goes to 120. It comes back to 145. And I think the operative way that these things are going to work is everything is going to kind of rally right up to where resistance is. And then it's just going to sit there. So that goes for all these Coinbase alts and a lot of these other coins. It finds resistance. It makes some kind of consolidation pattern. And then when the circus starts, as I say, which is, the Fed, Trump and social disorder and whatever, people just go, you know what? Like Uncle Sugar can sell Bitcoin, but if BlackRock and retail and hedge funds and Van Eck and Franklin and all these people just start buying because they realize the folly of what's going on, it's got to go up. It's got to go up, and it could go up a lot, right? I mean, everyone was cheering at Bitcoin Nashville for Trump when Trump was saying we're going to be the Bitcoin nation. Everyone's already forgotten about that. Probably because the price action was just so bad. Everybody who was bullish just was kind of forced to turn bearish. I just kind of said, you know what? I'm going on vacation. Sometimes you have to not look at it. That was my answer. Literally to not look at the market. Just be like, okay, you know what? Let them do their holiday smack. And that's exactly what they did. That's what they did. Okay. Aave, the classic case, right? All the way down, all the way back. Very quickly, very quickly. This is a profitable DeFi business. True finance, right? That's what I'm thinking short term. Okay. Silver, suppressed, crashed. New lows, not confirmed by new lows in the momentum indicator. A recipe to snap back up. A recipe to snap back up. Gold is the same thing. Look at this. They were hitting gold this morning. Like, okay, wow. 5-wave down. Everyone's crushing gold. Why is everyone crushing gold? Because the dollar was lower. Any explanation other than someone sitting on it like Uncle Sugar? Seriously, right? Okay, so that's it for charts. This is also avalanche, right? Straight up, straight down. You know, everybody had to get out of avalanche. It's like, wow, really? You know, I'm interested in this at 20, and then I promised True Finance. Okay, here's True. This is a downward sloping wedge, a bullish downward sloping wedge. This thing has got hammered to such a degree that they can get out of this thing and get above, say, 0.09, like they can get back above this high, this big technical inflection point. Like, you know, this is where you had the false breakout on the downside. This is where you had the false breakout on the upside. They break out of this pattern. I think this is going up because Ave is telling you about DeFi. So I don't know. It could be Maple. It could be Curve. You know, Ave unwinding its entire down move in one day should tell you something. Okay. All right. So if Rectember happens, what are you looking to purchase? Okay. So I just kind of laid that out. And Ankush is here. Welcome. Okay. Let's sum this up. Don't let slumping sideways, seemingly bearish price action make you bearish. Just don't. Okay. I think you are going to get an opportunity to, you know, figure out which projects are good and which projects aren't good based on what takes off after the Fed rate cut and the Trump circus. Okay. You know, if you're in coins, the best way to judge those coins is to see how they do at the end of September. In the meantime, this whole thing, in my mind, feels sideways to up, right? And if it goes down again, all it means is that when it turns around and goes back up, it's going to be all the more vicious going the other way. I know that doesn't help your P&L if it's going down, okay? But they're just not going to be able to hold this market down for much longer. Okay, that's the market update for today. We will see you tomorrow.